Hi everybody, if you watched this channel yesterday, you'll know that we were having some issues with our 2013 Nissan Leaf. It was basically struggling with the sub-zero temperatures and getting to and from work because my wife has a massive commute. Nothing against Nissan. The Nissan Leaf is a fantastic car if you want to do normal distance commutings. But if you want to do something a little bit longer, then, well, you need to get a longer distance car. And so yesterday we went to a local car dealer, Platts Auto. They're in just between Milwaukee and Gladstone in the greater Portland area. And they had some cars on the lot and we had a look around and then we had a little chat. And then we ended up buying a used EV, and it is here. Except it's not here, is it?
No.
This is my wife, Kate, if you didn't see her yesterday. And you're looking at this now, you're probably going, yep, that's a Chevrolet Bolt EV. And it is indeed a Chevrolet Bolt EV. But this isn't the Chevrolet Bolt EV that you're ending up buying, is it?
No.
So this is the loaner Chevrolet Bolt EV, and that's because we had a couple of things that needed to be done to the car yesterday. It has 70,000 miles on the clock, I think. 71,000 miles on the clock. And so that's actually some snow on the road at this elevation. And so we wanted to get those things fixed. There was a strut that needed to be replaced. There was something else, and we also wanted to get the winter tires from our Nissan Leaf, our Nokian Hakapelitas, taken off the Leaf and put on the Bolt, because the Chevrolet Bolt EV has the same wheel size as the Nissan Leaf SV, which is what we had with the 2013 Nissan Leaf SV. And so we were able to put the winter tires off that car onto the new Bolt. How are you feeling about your purchase, Kate? So, what was it that made you decide to go for a Bolt?
I think it was the range versus cost. It's always the same calculation. Whenever we're making a purchase like this, you have to look at the benefits that you're going to get out of it versus the money you have to pay for it. And as I was commuting to and from work and not turning the heater on in the middle of, well, not winter, but cold weather, the calculations of benefit versus cost started to change. I really like the Bolt. We've had a Bolt for years now, because Nikki obviously has one. But I kind of knew what I was getting, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that was kind of I mean, obviously we both had a part in the purchase decision, but we left the house this morning. This car's not even fully charged. It's cold weather, and it's saying a maximum range of 174, a minimum of 121, and you know, if we carry on driving as we're doing right now, it'll be 148 miles, which is not far off what my 2017 Chevrolet Bolt EV LT is predicting in this weather. And just so that you're aware, this is the loaner car, and it's got 94,000 miles on the clock. With 94,000 miles on the clock and sub-zero temperatures, its range prediction right now is within about 10 miles of what my 2017 Bolt LT is, and my Bolt has 37,000 miles on the clock. So it shows that these cars really don't suffer the same battery degradation. And I was watching something recently on that subject, or reading rather, in which someone had calculated that the Bolt EV battery pack has about the same degradation over time as the Tesla Model S.
Not that they're really comparable otherwise.
Rather not comparable otherwise, but the battery management and the range loss over time is about the same as it would be for a Tesla Model S, and that's fantastic. So people are now going to ask why you didn't go for a Model 3.
I was concerned about a couple of things. One, cost versus benefit, right?
Right, because the Tesla Model 3 starts at 40 grand.
It does.
If you're going for a brand new one. If we went for a used one, I think we can get a used one for about 30.
Yeah, and that's fine.
But it's also twice of what we paid for this car.
Exactly. And as we were just describing, if the battery degradation is at least going to be comparable, then you have to look at like your effective mile per dollar.
Right.
And this works out to be a really great bargain.
For the number of miles that you're putting on it.
For the number of miles that I'm putting in. I expect my car to be a workhorse.
Right.
Now, there was a pretty strong pull for things like autopilot. Because just setting it and almost forgetting it on my daily commute would have been really nice.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about having autopilot. We talked about having the ability to do the longer distances and use the superchargers, which would have been really nice. I mean, superchargers are faster, but we also had that kind of realization that in terms of what we want for a car, this is essentially just a commuter vehicle most of the time, and we're going to put a tow hitch on it like my Bolt, and that means you can go and get wood without having to use my car, which means that the range is going to be the amount of times that my car gets pushed into service for stuff like that will be less, which means I'll be able to get back under my mileage target for my lease. Which means if I don't want to buy the car at the end of it, I think I probably am going to buy our Bolt at the end of the lease. The lease comes up, I think, in a couple of weeks. But if I want to get rid of the Bolt at that point, I can. But honestly, my Bolt's been pretty reliable. There's only been one major issue with it, and that was the ABS sensors going just before the warranty ran out. But every car has ABS sensors. Every car has ABS sensors.
Not every car, but...
Well, no, every new car is going to have ABS sensors. So they're going to need replacing at some point. So we are at that point now where we're like, you know what? Let's discuss this and let's try to see what we can get out of a deal. And I think we got a good deal for this car, not this car, but the car that Kate is getting when it's ready to be picked up. I think I already dropped the hint. We paid about half of what we'd be paying for a used Tesla Model 3. There was a Tesla Model S that was in the consideration. I think it'd be fair for us to not lie about that. It was for $20,000. It was local in Washington State, so just over the border in Washington State. And it had some evidence of an accident in the past, which kind of put us off. So we didn't go for that. Also, it didn't have any kind of active lane keep assist. It didn't have the autopilot because it was too old. And so
the bells and whistles were not so shiny.
The bells and whistles were not so shiny. You ended up getting a Bolt EV Premier with all of the bells and whistles. So the cameras, all of the cameras. Kate likes the bells and whistles. With the lane keep assist, with the forward collision detection system, and while it doesn't have adaptive cruise control, Kate is a very safe driver. She's been using one of these apps. What's it called? Everdrive. She uses the Everdrive app to evaluate her driving, and it consistently reports that she's one of the top drivers in the area in terms of her safe driving. She's number one right now.